Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome, my dear students. This is a video for the subject of education, for the course of Bachelor's in Education and for the paper of Educational Technology. This video lecture is based on emerging technologies and issues in educational technology, and this lecture is going to talk about the modes and styles of e-learning. The video lecture is recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Professor Jasim Ahmed from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha Channels of Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello, my dear students. I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today, we will be talking about the topic which is based on emerging technologies and issues in educational technology. And in this particular topic, we will be discussing about the modes and styles of e-learning. We have already discussed the basics of e-learning, and here this lesson or this particular lecture will be giving a better idea about the different modes and styles of e-learning. The objectives of this session are to discuss the various modes and styles of e-learning and to elaborate the measures which can be taken to promote e-learning in our educational institutions. So quickly let us revise that what exactly is e-learning, which we have seen in a greater manner in a video, separate video, which is on the basics of e-learning. So e-learning may be taken as an electronically carried out learning facilitated and supported by the use of advanced learning technology. Particularly, it calls for the services of computers, networking, and multimedia. And here we can say that a major role of internet and related services have to play. So this is the basic and the most simpler definition, or you can say explanation of e-learning. Now we have to see that what exactly are the different types or modes or styles of e-learning. The essential condition for calling a particular learning as a form of e-learning basically lies in its characteristics, which basically mean the mode of delivery, the delivering and the instructional contents through advanced electronic means like the computers or mobile-based ICT applications or multimedia devices. So while we fulfill all these conditions, various e-learning situations may be seen to adopt many of these types or styles, or maybe the merging, or you can say one or two styles can merge up and can be a delivery method, can make a delivery method. So let us try to understand those important modes and styles which the e-learning patterns or e-learning systems adapt normally. So the first style which I wish to mention is the support learning style of e-learning. What exactly it means? The support learning style. This type of e-learning can play a mere supporting role to the teaching learning activities which are organized in a class or in an institution. So what happens as a result, a teacher may take the use, or the teacher can take the support of this particular type of learning for making his or her teaching process better. And a learner can actually use this particular method of learning, that support learning material or support learning services for the for fulfilling the requirements, because they are needed for the learning process, so they actually use those things. For example, the multimedia based technologies, the multimedia based applications, we use them whenever they are required. The internet and web services, whenever we find something which is not we are not able to retrieve from any uh, book or from some of those materials which we have for studying, we go to the web searches, we go to different search engines and search for those material which are needed. And this type of search based, or you can say whenever required, then we go for using those services. That type of services actually enhance the learning process. They provide a need, like they provide uh, the those solutions which were needed at that particular time. They help us in completing the classroom activities, and they enhance somehow our skills, and whatever is the hunch at that particular time, we go for searching those things and we get the solutions from those web-based services, the search engines. So this is basically the support learning style, which can be seen as a typical style or mode of e-learning. Then the second way or second style of e-learning can be considered as the blended learning style. In this mode, there are attempts which are made for making the use of a combination of the traditional and the ICT enhanced e-learning practices. You can see that even the name is having this blended word, which says that there is a mix of two types. There is something which is amalgamated, one and the other are blended to make a system or to make some sort of way in which the learning can be transacted. So the programs and the activities are planned in a way here in this blended learning pattern that, and even they are executed to present a very kind of nice and happy combination of both the traditional classroom teaching practices and the e-learning based instructions. And in this way, we can reap the benefits of both the practices which are face to face, which is considered to be traditional system, and the advanced e-learning systems which are facilitated by the internet-based services or by any of the devices, computers or our mobile phones. The best example can be those type of courses where there are certain face-to-face classes which are compulsory to attend, and then the material, the entire course content, everything is given to the students through the online system. But there are the face-to-face classes which are compulsory, and the students have to come for those face-to-face classes at that particular schedule, which is given to the students at the beginning only. So those type of courses can be considered as the blended learning courses, which encompass the face-to-face classes as well the online classes or the provision of online materials. Then comes the third mode or style, which is the complete e-learning pattern or complete e-learning style. What happens in this mode? The name suggests very well that in this mode of learning, the traditional classroom teaching learning is totally replaced. It is totally replaced by the virtual classroom teaching learning. So here we are seeing that the there is no any space for the face-to-face teaching learning process. So there is no existence of the actual classrooms where a teacher and a student is basically interacting with each other. There is no any intervention of a physical school or the teaching learning environment as it happens in the traditional setup of our school education or our college education. So the learners are free to take their learning tasks or assignments, and they are very much independent. And this is possible only with the help of properly designed e-learning courses. So most of the learning activities are carried out entirely in, like, before, when we plan for an e-learning course, everything is actually decided and planned in the beginning itself if the course is of complete e-learning style. But at the same time, they may have some access to the live chats. So there can be a provision of a live chat which can be periodically organized. So the mentor can come to solve the queries even through video conferencing or video calls, or some sort of mechanism which is given to them through the system, or there can be chats, that there can be chat boxes where the queries can be placed. So every single information, the material is well stored, the information is well stored in the system, and the learning package is available in the form of the recorded material. If the material is provided through any device on a computer or on a in a tablet, or maybe by a pen drive or DVD, that is also one of the way. Otherwise there can be platforms, like we have got the Swayam platform, where we have the complete e-learning courses, where we can go and get admission in a particular course which we are interested to do, and the material is provided to us. We can go ahead with the schedule which is provided to us by the course coordinator or the mentor teacher, and then according to the schedule we can plan or execute our learning. And if we want any kind of assistance from the mentor faculty, we can ask the questions through the means of chatting, like writing the questions and getting the answers after some time. Or there are devices, there are a certain sections which encompass the discussion forum, where there are live interactions with the mentor teacher or the other experts who can come at that particular time, and the students can connect to them and ask their queries. This particular type of system is considered to be the complete e-learning activity, or a complete e-learning type of system or style of e-learning. This is complete e-learning. It's not blended. As we saw in blended, the blended system was having a face-to-face, a compulsory face-to-face section, where the teachers were supposed to interact with the students face-to-face in physical mode. But here in this complete e-learning, there is no any provision of physical interaction of face-to-face class, but even the interaction can be happening through the chatting system or by the video call, or some sort of like technology based system. So these are the three important styles or modes of e-learning: the support learning, the blended learning, and the complete e-learning styles. Now the point is that these things are in this complete e-learning system, there are, as I just mentioned, that there are two ways in which we can interact or ask our queries to the experts or to the mentor teachers or to the course developer. I just mentioned that one way can be that by writing our queries in the chat box, and the other way can be when we are interacting with the teacher through some sort of means, through some sort of media like video call or audio conference, some sort of these things. So these are two distinctive communication styles. Let us just have a quick look on that, what exactly these communication styles are named as, or what they mean. The first is the asynchronous communication style. What happens in this style? Here, the course information or the learning experiences are passed to the learner through the written text, through email or through the written discussion forum or through the web pages, by weblogs, or nowadays we call them blogs and uh, vlogs, wikis, and through some sort of recorded text. We can use that auto-generated text box where we can write the query, and whenever the teacher finds time or sees that particular posted query, that teacher will write the answer at the same place, or in some like as through some of the means or media. Like if we are sending our queries through an email, the teacher is going to respond through a reverse, like a revert back mail, or the query will be answered at the convenience of the teacher after some time. So the answer is not given to the learner at the same time. So it takes some time and it is not live. Basically, the communication which is happening is not happening at the real time. Here, the material which is given there, on the basis of that particular material, the query is asked, but the face-to-face dialogue is not happening. Real-time interaction is not happening, and that is why it is considered to be as asynchronous communication style. Let us come to the next, which is synchronous communication style. Here, the communication between the teacher and the student occurs online and live. So it can be by any of the means, either an audio or a video conferencing, or even by writing. Like you can find in certain cases, like if we are using a video conferencing method for taking a class, you can find the students are writing in the chat box, and spontaneously you read the responses during the class. You read those particular queries or those things which are written in the chat box, and you can spontaneously write the answer. Even the other students who are the part of the class, they can respond back to that particular chatting item. Here, because the interaction is happening in the real time, back to back interactions are happening, either through writing in the chat box or through speaking up. I'm asking the question and you are giving the answer, or vice versa, through the audio system or audio phone calling system, or through the video calling system, because the interaction is happening live and there is no any time gap. There is no any specific time gap between the two communications, the question and the answer. You can even make a cross question if you are having further like if anything is not very clear to you with the response which you have got, you can even go for a cross questioning at the same time. And the live interaction of responding back you can receive from your teacher. Here the communication which is happening is considered to be the synchronous communication. Synchronous communications are considered to be more active and more you can say student friendly, because here the students are having less difficulty in terms of solving their queries. At the same time, the queries which are arriving to their minds can be solved by their teachers. So this is the synchronous communication style, and we have seen in the e-learning systems, these two type of communication styles were used whenever there is a requirement of solving the queries or interacting with the mentor teacher and the student. So this was some sort of additional thing which I just wanted to mention, which is in terms of how the communications are happening in the e-learning systems. So in this way, e-learning can have a variety of modes and styles for the operation, like for the serving of the students and the teachers, and even the teaching learning encounters in our classrooms. So what happens, the support provider or the collaborator or the partner and the substitute or alternative of the real time actual teaching learning situation in our classrooms can be actually structured if we are following the synchronous learning styles. So it will be very much similar to the classroom situation, because the teacher and students are getting live opportunity to talk to each other, and if the teacher is an expert teacher, the teacher will be in a position to actually answer to all those queries. So we can say that the synchronous learning system, and even in some cases asynchronous, is also of some so much significance. They are very helpful in running the e-learning systems. And in all of the three forms of e-learning, basically this system, the e-learning system, tries to adopt the advanced, and they try to maintain the basic features and try to adopt the advanced learning and communication technologies, so that they can become able to provide the best of learning experiences to the students through this learning system, which involves multimedia, internet, and web services, and even the services of the mobile phones. Nowadays, mobile phones are the lifesavers, because whenever we are talking about the online education, a lot of students are not, they might not be having a laptop or a computer, but it is difficult that a student would not be having a mobile phone. At least in a household, one mobile phone is now normally available. So we can see now nowadays that we are in a position to transact our teaching learning process through the use of these mobile phones, and through the broadband services which are now available even to the remotest end of our country. Although we have to improve a lot, but to a certain extent we can say that the services are available, and by the use of these sophisticated devices and the services, we will be in a position even in our future to make at least the most utmost utilization of the times of our students. And for adopting the styles of communication between the teacher and students, it may choose the, like, we can go for choosing the synchronous style of communication, which is having the advantage of providing cues and answers in the real time setting. But at few places, when the transmission is weak, or maybe at some times when the because of some like rainy season or some sort of weather conditions, if synchronous communication is not possible, then even this asynchronous style can allow the student to undergo the desired experiences at their own pace and convenience, and it allows the students to ask the questions. Even at least they can put their questions, and whenever it is received by the teacher will be in a position to answer. So somehow the teaching learning process can go around, and it is not going to hamper the entire teaching learning process. So we should go for, first option should be the synchronous style for communicating, but if it is not available, it is, we are finding it difficult to adopt, we can even go for asynchronous style, and in this way we can continue the learning process of our students. Now the point is that what we should do for the promotion and arrangement for e-learning in our educational institutions. There is a lot of hesitation. Still, we are finding a lot of institutions and the teachers and students who have got some sort of hesitation towards adapting the e-learning situations or online classes or the scenario. But e-learning has enough potential to provide solid assistance to all types of academic tasks. be it theoretical or it can be practical even. And we have to make sure that everybody would be in a position to understand this, because e-learning has got a lot of potential. Can be on individual basis or it can be on collaborative classroom situation basis, where we can utilize the services of e-learning. It can provide a valuable treasury of the knowledge and information to all subjects of the school curriculum or even the college or higher education scenario. Even in case of teacher education, it is actually providing us immense possibilities. Besides providing help, becoming a very kind of helpful resource in managing the multidimensional affairs which are related to the classrooms instruction and even the all-round development of the personalities of the students. They are even helpful in actually running the entire process in a way in which the teacher was planning in the face-to-face mode. At least to certain extent, we are in a position to take through our students. In the rapid moving world, we can sustain only by making ourselves capable of racing with the pace of the time and the technological progress. And e-learning as well as m-learning or the mobile learning is the demand of the time, and we have to understand this. We have to prepare our students and bring suitable modifications and improvements in the prevailing system of our educational institutions to face this challenge. These type of challenges, they are going to come in front of us periodically. So we have to make them enabled so that they are in a position to face these challenges whenever they are it is required for them. So let us see what we can do, what can be done. We will just discuss few of those attempts or those things which we can do in terms of promoting e-learning in our educational institutions. Let us try to see what exactly we can do. The first and the foremost thing that needs to be done is to develop a positive attitude. It is the must. And it is the first thing which we have to do towards the progress and towards the adoption of the process and the products of e-learning. And for this purpose, there should be attempts. And very earnestly, we have to initiate to develop a culture that values e-learning as much as the traditional face-to-face education. So we don't have to hesitate or make a situation which is not conducive to this to the e-learning scenario. The students should be made in a way, we should facilitate them that they start appreciating the fruits of e-learning. And in any case, they should not be allowed uh, to actually feel bad about this entire scenario, or there should be no any wrong message that should be that should be transmitted to them, which is against the online education or learning, and it should not be demeaned or it should not be rated as second to the face-to-face medium. We have to make it some sort of equal to the face-to-face mode, and we know that face-to-face mode is very very nice and it is very kind of advantageous, but when there is not the situation is not allowing us to go for face-to-face, they should be wholeheartedly adapting to the system of e-learning. For this purpose, the teachers are responsible to create a conducive environment, a positive attitude towards this e-learning scenario in the students. And the way in which the teachers can go for it is to learn the method of teaching using the tools in a better way. If they would be struggling to use the systems while taking the classes, the students will be very puzzled that what exactly is happening. If my teacher is not able to use the system, what I should do. this type of situation can make a kind of negative impact on the students. So we should avoid. As a teacher, we have to go for learning it, and then we have to go with a kind of very pro attitude with in front of our students, so that they can also become motivated in terms of learning the situation, and the ways in which we can transact the e-learning classes or the online classes. The second way for the promotion can be providing the needed facilities for training and equipping the students and the teachers and even the support staff, because the support staff which is responsible for the hardware, dealing with the hardware and all those so-called devices, the technical aspect of the devices, if they are not given the proper training for handling the things, it is again going to become a fiasco. So this essential technical knowledge and skill related to the operation and utilization of the multimedia appliances, the computer and the related devices, and how to work with them, how to use them to the fullest, how to connect the systems with the internet, how to utilize the web technology. This type of learning, this type of training should be provided to the students and the teachers and even to the support staff, so that they become pro and they become it becomes a kind of natural activity, naturalization of using the equipment and the services should come. Then only these means will become just like a means, and they will not struggle with the use of the equipment. They are going to learn from those things, and regular classroom practices where the subjects are being taught will be possible. Otherwise they will be struggling only with the system of this e-learning and the computers and all those internet related issues. So this is the must. The training is the must. First thing is to develop a positive attitude, and then the training. This training is actually going to give them this positive attitude. The third point is to provide proper orientation to the staff and students, not only in terms of making them technologically capable for engaging in this e-learning process, but also to have full awareness about the possible advantages and the gains which are drawn from the ventures of e-learning. So the advantages, if they will be aware of the advantages, then they will be agreeing to go with the flow, and they will not hesitate or they will not become reluctant in terms of using the e-learning systems. Then the next is to make the provision of the internet facilities and the classroom websites for giving the opportunities to the teachers and the students to carry out the teaching learning task, which is done by the use of the mechanism of e-learning. And for this purpose, an institution where this entire activity is happening can venture to create an effective online learning course or the program which can provide or which can be provided to the users as a substitute or alternative for the live classroom interaction. It is just like if you are providing some live interaction or some live training. Suppose somebody at that point of time misses some of the steps, and the student or the person who is actually getting the training would be asking once or twice. But suppose somebody is not able to understand even after questioning once or twice, then there will be some sort of like point when you will feel like a person will feel like that now it will be bad if I repeat the question again. But suppose you are providing the entire set of instructions recorded in some device, or maybe you can record all the instructions in the form of a course. You can make the course in available over the website, or you provide it recorded in a device. or through some tool you provide the instructions. This type of appropriate support or supplementary service to the traditional classroom instruction and school activities will be a very useful thing, because this will be enabling the student to go ahead and repeatedly seeing that particular thing which the person was not able to understand by the first viewing or by the first uh, encounter. So here the student will be having a lot of opportunities on her own pace. She is going to go ahead with repeated encounters, repeated viewing of those material, and they can learn on their own pace. So it will be a very useful mechanism, and this can be even given as a supplement to the traditional classroom, or maybe if you are providing some sort of skill training, then also it can be used. Then the next, or you can say the last here in my list, is that to make adequate provisions for the availability of the technical support services to train and provide online support to both the teachers and students in reaping the maximum benefits from the e-learning program. Online support is a must. If you are stuck with something, if you are running through a program, you are going ahead with a course, and you are stuck at some point of time, you require the solution at that point of time only, and that is possible only through the online support mechanism. Like in case of a customer services system, you you actually call to the system and ask for the solution. In the same way, in an e-learning system, there should be an online support mechanism. Even we should go for the frequently asked questions. The list of the those questions can be visualized beforehand, and the ready-made answers should be provided, so that those things which are usually the questions which can be usually arriving to the minds of the students can be actually taken up through the FAQs. But rest of the things, if there is a unique problem which appears to somebody, there should be a solution, and that solution should be provided through the online support services. So these are some of those ways in which we can make a popularization, or we can make the e-learning services much more, um, you can say, popular in the educational setups, in the educational scenario. Now we have reached to the end. Let us just have a quick recap what we have studied today. We saw that there are different types of modes and styles adopted for the various e-learning situations, and these were the support learning for actually playing a mere supporting role to the teaching learning activities which are organized in the class. This support learning can be helpful. Then we have seen the blended learning. In this blended learning, we make use of a combination of traditional and ICT enhanced e-learning practices. And then we saw the third and the last style, which is the complete e-learning, which involves asynchronous communication as well as synchronous communication styles, and it replaces the traditional classroom teaching learning completely with the virtual classroom teaching learning. So here there is no any place to the traditional system of face-to-face teaching. Then we saw that there are a number of measures which can be employed to promote and arrange for e-learning in our educational institutions. What we can do? Uh, we can go for few of those ways and means, like we can go for developing a right positive attitude towards the process and the products of e-learning. Then we can provide the needed facilities for training and equipping the students and teachers, along with the supporting staff in operation and utilization of multimedia appliances, computers and other devices, and the technology which is related to networking. We can also go for creating full awareness about all the possible advantages and the gains which can be drawn from the ventures in the various ways of e-learning. We can go for making provisions for the internet facilities and the classrooms, websites, and even we can go for making adequate provision for the availability of the technical support services which can provide training and can provide the online support to the courses or to the process of e-learning for the teachers and even for the students. So this online support is a must, which is going to make the e-learning process kind of popular event for every teacher and student. So this was all for today. Let us see what are those referenced and suggested further links. So these are those, and you can also go ahead with studying more with the help of these links and the references. And let us see each other in another session another time. Thank you so much. Dear students, we were watching a video which was based on the module Emerging Technologies and Issues in Educational Technology. In this lecture, we talked about the modes and styles of e-learning. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the homebound situation of COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.